Hi scrapbook friends, it's Nicole from Nicole's Scrapbooks, and I want to share with you a hack for using the Creative Memories circle cutter. This has been, people have told me that this has been a game-changing hack for them, and I've shown it in a couple of my layout videos, but I want to put it just here by itself so that if you need to reference it again, you won't have to watch me, do a whole video. So I'm going to just kind of cut to the chase. I'm not going to talk about the features of the circle cutter. Maybe I'll do that at the end, but I'm just going to show you how to make a template that's going to allow you to position your circle cutter exactly where you want it. Now, you may not need this if you just need some random circles, but if you want to position your circle so that's exactly in the center of your paper or a photograph, this hack is going to hopefully be life-changing for you. So what you need is some 3-inch Post-it notes, 3-inch square Post-it notes. You could probably get by with a piece of 3-inch cardstock and some repositionable tape, but Post-it notes are easily accessible. And I've gone through so many because I use this hack all the time. Then you're also going to need a ruler. I, of course, love the Creative Memories Zero Centering Ruler, and the 13 by 13 cutting mat or some kind of a grid with measurements on it that will help you position your paper where you want it. So the first step is to create a template for your to use with your trimmer, and this is the hack. This is the life-changing part. You're going to take your 3-inch Post-it note and your pencil, your pen, and your ruler. And I like to make a little mark in each corner because that helps me line up my ruler once I get going, just to make sure that it's as exact as I can. And you're going to draw a line both directions from corner to corner to create an X. Okay, so you've got this corner to corner square. Then take your zero centering ruler, and what we want is the 1.5 inch line. So if you use this logo side, you don't want to use the other side because it doesn't have the horizontal lines. You want to use the logo side right here, and right above this Creative Memories logo is the 1 inch line. So the line between that line and the 0 is going to be the 1.5 inch line. And you want to line up your ruler on that with the 1.5 inch line along one of the straight lines, and then make sure just that it's square. So you can see if I line my ruler up exactly, you don't, it lines up to make sure that my line is square. So there's my pen line in there. I'm going to just position it here and get it just perfectly square at the 1.5 inch line. And then I'm going to draw another cross line. Okay, so now the space between these two lines is 1.25 inches. I'm sorry, I think I just said 1.5. You want this to be 1.25 inches between your center line and your positioning line. And that's because the circle maker itself is 2.5 inches wide, and the pivot point, we want to be able to align with the center. So the pivot point will come here and the edge will be here. So I'm going to start by showing you on a 12-inch paper, 12 by 12 paper, how to position this using the cutting mat. So I'm going to put my paper on here and just line up the edges so that they are square. And because we're cutting a circle, if it's off by a smidge, it's not a huge deal. But you want to get it as accurate as you can for some of the techniques that you use that you would want this to be centered. Then I'm going to take my ruler and position it at the, actually I'm going to do it that way, position at the 6-inch line and the 6-inch line. So now I know that this point right here is the center. And so I want to align this center point with that center point. I'm going to find the sticky side, which is right here. It's a lot easier to do this without the sticky. And I like to slide it under here. And again, I'm going to use that line to make it straight. I'm going to position with the edge. You can put a little dab of repositionable adhesive on the Post-it note and stick it on first, but you don't always have to do that. So we'll just measure again. Here's the 6-inch line. It's pretty straight. Like I say, it doesn't have to be exact because what we want is this piece right here. Okay, and now you can move this wherever you want. You don't need to use the positioning anymore, because this piece, as long as you leave it on here, you're always going to be able to find this center. So I'm going to start with an 11-inch circle since I have a 12-inch piece of paper. And I'm going to take this black measurement line that lines up, you know, that tells you how big your circle is going to be. And the front of the tool itself. So the front of the tool goes on this line, and then the black measurement line lines up with your with that perpendicular line. Okay, so you see right here, there we go. And then you just press down, make sure that you've tightened down the knob, press down on the blue button, press in on the white button to release the blade, and then press down to cut, and you can go all the way around. And so now your piece is exactly centered on your page. So if you wanted to use this part on a layout, then it's going to be visually pleasing because it's centered. But then the other nice thing is, if you want to do concentric rings, you can keep going. One of the other tips about this trimmer that's sometimes a little hard to get your brain around, if you want a 1/2 inch ring, you need to move the guide on your trimmer 1 inch. And so it is a little bit of math, I'm sorry. But it's because you want a 1/2 inch on both sides, that's where you get that 1 inch. So you double the number on the guide to get the width that you want. So I'm going to do a 1/2 inch ring. So I'm going to scoot this down to 10 inches. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to line up that same line here with the perpendicular, and then the edge of my cutter with the pen line I drew. And that's going to give me my 1/2 inch circle. So if I want a 1 inch, then obviously I have to double that. So I'm going to move this down 2 inches, and that's going to get me a 1 inch ring. So you just slide it down and then tighten the white ring. And again, because this little template is stuck to your paper, you can throw this in your bag and you can come back to it tomorrow or next week or whatever, and it's still going to be centered. Once you peel this Post-it note off, though, then it gets hard. So I encourage you to leave it on until you're done with all your cutting. And I have several of these because, as you'll see, there's lots of things you can use them for. So now I'm going to do a 1 inch ring. All right, and so I moved it 2 inches to get the 1 inch ring. So just remember that this number should be double what you want that number to be. The other thing that I love this template for is cutting a photo. I still love the custom cutting system for cutting pictures, but sometimes I don't want to get it out. It's just easy to have this out, and it goes in my bag so easily. But it's harder to position this and make sure that I'm not going to go off the edge. So I've got this little picture of me with my nephew at Disney World a couple years ago. And the Minnie and Mickey right here are about 3.5 inches wide. So I know that I can do a 3.5 inch cut, but we're not really centered. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of figure out where the middle of my picture is, right about here. And I'm going to use the lines on my mat to line up these 2 points, and it doesn't matter. I'm going to go off the edge because the Post-it, goes off the edge, and then I'm going to cut a 3.5 inch circle. One thing that's interesting about the circle cutter is that these are not 1/2 inch measurements. These are like 2/10 of an inch, so you get 3.2, 0.4, 0.6, 0.8, 0.4. So to get the 1/2 inch, I'm going to go halfway between the 4 and the 6. And the smallest this will do is about a 3 2/10 of an inch. Sorry, my phone doesn't want to focus. Okay, so I'm right there in between the 3 and the 4 to get my 1/2 inch. And then the same tip, we're going to align these 2 lines, press down, and go around. And it is a little harder once you get down at this smaller size. Oh, I think I just cut off Mickey's ear. Sorry, Mickey. But this way now I've got my picture just centered where I wanted it. Okay, so this is the only way I've found to make sure that I don't go off the edge, but I didn't measure Mickey's ear. Sorry, I measured to the middle, but a circle is smaller. But you can also then save something like this. If you have a bunch of pictures that you wanted to cut, you could save your little template to help you decide, you know, where do I want my, my circle to be. Let's see. Pretend I was going to cut out this little sign for Jacksonville. And then you can put this piece back in once once you've trimmed it down. And I often have, these that have been trimmed right down. So if you wanted to do a picture, if you want to do it on a picture, sometimes it's nice to have a little sizing template. Okay, so that's the hack. I'm going to show you one more time, just in case you're still watching. But you're going to take a 3-inch Post-it note, and you're going to draw a line from corner to corner in both directions. You don't have to do this part on your mat. You could just do this on your table, but my mat's right here. And then you're going to want to draw a line that is parallel to one of these lines that is at 1 1/4 inches from the center line, either of the center lines. And so by lining it up here, this way and that way, I make sure that it's perfectly straight, perpendicular, so that I know I'm going to be straight. And then you draw your second line. You could draw it in both directions if you wanted to, but just remember that it's 1 1/4 inches between the lines, because the trimmer is 2 1/2 inches. So if you put the 0 right here on the pivot point, you'll see that the edge of the trimmer is right here at that 1 1/4 inch line. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense to you, to this Post-it hack for using the Creative Memories circle maker. Actually, I'm going to show you one more on a 6-inch, just for the same technique. And I love that you can do it on whatever size you want. So a 6-inch I know will be 3 inches square. I can't ever do the short version, sorry guys, but. So you can also just kind of lay it over the top. Let's see, I want the sticky to stick to the paper. Lay it over the top. If you don't want to slide it under, if sliding it under is too hard, just position it so the lines align with this, and then like that. And then we'll do, this is a 6-inch circle, so we'll do 5 1/2-ish. And you can do this like on the corner of your paper. It doesn't have to always be in the center. Maybe you want to cut a circle out of the corner of a paper, or there's a design on your paper that you want to cut out. Just wherever you put this, just center it in the space that you want. So let's say I want a 6-inch circle, but I want it to be down here because I want to save the rest of my paper for something else. I'll come out here, and because I want to do 6-inch, I'll probably give it like, I'll probably want to have a 6 1/2 inch space. So that's 6. I'm going to go over 1/4 inch and up 1/4 inch. Well, let's see, 6. I want this to be, I don't want it to be at 3. 3 would be exactly 6 inches. I'm going to scoot it over 3 1/4 and 3 1/4. Actually, I'll do it like that. I'll put it here, put it on the edge, 3 1/4. All right, so this is going to allow me to do that 6-inch circle on the corner of my page, and know that I'm not going to go off the edge, and it's going to be even, the spacing around the edges is going to be even. Okay, so lots and lots of ways you can use this. And then because it's a Post-it note, you can reuse it. You saw I used it on, well, you didn't see because I used a new one, but you can use this multiple times. Just kind of stick it back on your Post-it pad and use it till it stops being sticky, and then it's easy to make another one. So I really am learning to love the circle maker, and I hope that you will learn to love it too, and that this is a hack. Please share this hack with other people you know that may be struggling with the Circle Maker, because it really has completely changed my feelings about this amazing single piece tool for my scrapbooking. Thanks so much. Happy scrapbooking.